Well, hello, my name is Dan Sullivan, and I'm the product manager for cnHeat. In today's webinar from Cambium Networks, we'll go over what we currently are released with cnHeat. Okay. So today, cnHeat technical difficulty there, everybody, so sorry. Okay, today cnHeat 1.0 is orderable, and the two main features are a heat map, and it's a highly accurate heat map, and I'll describe it in great detail at the demo site, and then also the site optimization feature. cnHeat supports all 450 products, and we support ePMP. So cnHeat, the heat map, I'll go ahead and demonstrate this. We'll go to the website, and you can always get there at cnHeat.cambiumnetworks.com, and we have a demo account, and you can just type in cnHeat, but this is all lowercase, and then you put the password in, and it's demo. So let's switch over to cnHeat, and here's the web browser. And so what we have here is we have a demo site, and you can zoom out. So I'll show zooming out and zooming in, and we have basically a heat map for Emporia, Kansas. This is just a random city we chose to provide cnHeat on, and these are random sites just to demonstrate the overall concept. We have 3 sites here. We have Tower 1, Tower 2, and Tower 3. So what I want to do is zoom into Tower 1. I'm going to turn site Tower 2 off and Tower 3 off. You can do that by clicking here on the upper right hand corner and here. Now you'll notice here that Tower 1, Tower 2, and Tower 3 actually have 2 heat maps. There is both a 1 and a 10. What we did is we allow the user to have 2 SM heights to model their sites. And the reason for that is you have probably a normal installation height for your subscriber modules, and you might have a worst case site where you put a pole up there. And the harder to reach modules, which takes more time and money. So by switching between the 2, you can see the coverage required to do either a 1-foot mount here or a 10-foot mount here in our example. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in to Tower 1. And what we see here as we keep zooming in and in and in, and we see the actual coverage of the heat map emanating from the tower. There's actually 4 APs on this tower: north, east, south, and west. And what I want to direct us to is, let's look up here. There's a Methodist church up to the northwest, west-northwest. And we'll zoom into this in further detail. Oops, too quick. And see what we see here now is we actually come close into the Methodist church. And here we see the coverage that the Methodist church would have with Tower 1. And so that's what the red is on the roof. Now, if you notice, we have cnHeat set to the 1-foot height of the SM. So the SM would be mounted anywhere in red, 1 foot above the roof. You can also mount it if you want on the ground, if there's a spot on the ground. Like for instance, here's a street over here, it's 1 foot above the street, it would work there. And then you can mount it above a tree, and that's an example of a tree right there. But let's use, for example, this pitched roof of the Methodist church. Here we see that what makes sense is on the roof, I would have coverage all the way over here going back to the tower. What's interesting, since it's 1 foot, you also notice that if I go over the pitch of the roof and I go down by about 1 foot, I have coverage until I get down to the 1 foot. That's the exactness we're talking here about cnHeat that it will provide you for your sites. Okay, now let's center in 3 houses to the right of the church. These houses are surrounded by lots of trees everywhere. I mean, we're very close to the access point in the site, but there's many trees causing problems with getting connectivity. So here's house 1, house 2, and house 3. House 1 is the northmost house, and it has just a little bit of a view to the access point. And so you could, if the customer here called and said, "Can I have service?" your answer back would be yes. I can put service on the back of your house. Is it okay if I climb on the roof and install it here? And so you would know with confidence that you could install there, and you could plan your install out in advance. House number 2, the middle house, has a problem though. It has really, really big trees in front of it. And that's kind of denoted right here because you can see the service is being blocked. And so what we see here is house 2 doesn't have the ability to have service, and you would respond back, sorry, house 2, we can't give you service. House 3 has a view that actually cuts through the trees, and it has service over pretty much the whole house. So this one, this customer calls, you would say, excellent, I can provide you service, and it would be an easy installation for your team. So it seems like all 3 houses would be similar in how you would do an install, but with cnHeat, you can know the secrets of what really is going to happen to your installer in advance before they actually go out there. Okay, now real quickly, if you want to see what would happen with the 10-foot pole, we just click that because there's better coverage. And here what we see is that it just kind of increases the coverage for these different buildings. You look at the church over here, and the 10-foot pole works further down the pitch of the roof. The 10-foot pole gives you more coverage on the top house. And on this middle house here, it really doesn't have coverage. That's a tree that's actually right there, and it's showing coverage above the tree. Maybe back here there'd be coverage, but it might be doubtful. And here you can see on the bottom house, now we have lots and lots of coverage. Okay, let's go back to the presentation now that we have a basic description of cnHeat. Okay. All right, going back to the presentation. That's the demonstration of cnHeat. Once again, the account is cnHeat and the password's demo. You can go there anytime. Okay, so how does cnHeat work, or why does it work? The reason why it works is we use high resolution GIS data. So what we have here is we have a demonstration of 1 meter GIS data. Here is where the site is at, and here is where the SM is at, so AP and SM, and we show a little path profile along the way. You'll notice that with 1 meter GIS data, when you look at it, it looks like the real Earth. And so you see buildings to the side, you see this building right here, it's actually another church with the back building, and so you can see back here that there's the roof of the back side of the church and the front side of the church. And then along the way here, you show the different heights of things that would interfere with the RF signal. And these are the trees. And so you can see at the 2 points located here in the red arrows that the trees get to a certain height, like 120 meters or 121 meters right here. And those are your obstructions. Now, if we go to the next slide down, this is what GIS data looks like at 10 meters. And so this is used in other tools. And you can see what happens here is just from the visual clarity, it's kind of like averaged together. It's not sharp anymore. And if we look at the heights here, what was a high point before at 120 meters here and 121 meters here has now gone down to 114 meters and 113 meters. That causes problems because when your heights go down, it makes your environment look better than it is. So you get false positives, and your false positives leads to failed truck rolls. Okay, now let's go to our next slide. Okay, here's an example of cnHeat in use. And cnHeat here, when we tried it with this customer, it says there's no way that this nice home with lots of trees can get service. Trees are blocking everything. But the customer went to us and he said, cnHeat is not working because we have coverage here at this home. And they said, see, look at this next picture. And they're like, here's our installation, and we're getting this actual throughput. And then a short time later, as we were looking this up to see what had potentially gone wrong, they called us and we both came to the same conclusion at the same time. Oh yeah, here's the actual pole mount. We looked it up. It's at the front driveway. And if we look at cnHeat, it predicted the only place that the installer went and could get service. This installer did an excellent job, but it probably took them a long time to get to the location. And another thing to consider is, what if the installer had missed this? You told this customer they can't have service, it's a wasted truck roll. Now you actually can go in advance and know, just go right here and you can make an extremely long truck roll very short truck roll, and you can be sure that you won't miss this customer. Okay, now what is the site optimization feature? We realize that some sites haven't been built yet, or maybe you want to optimize your site. So for small incremental costs, say you had Tower 3, like in the example of cnHeat, you can put a new tower down for a small amount of cost within 600 feet, and you can have both propagations, both heat map analyses. Therefore, you can try out Tower 3 and see how it works, and you can try out Tower 3 with the site optimization, and you can choose the best overall one. And what's even nicer is we'll let you keep all the propagations. Okay, so let's talk about what is the value for cnHeat and how can you quantify it for yourself. Okay, first, there's installation time savings for both successful installations and unsuccessful. We'll get to that, all of these points shortly in more detail. The second one is you have a time efficiency for your truck rolls. You can do, your truck rolls now will go faster and you can do more per day. When your customer service representative gets a call from your end customer, you can tell them it's a go or a no-go quickly with confidence. And you can also find previously failed installs. So you might have tried something out, it didn't work with the install. You can go back to those customers and you can find previously failed customers. Let's go through these in a little more detail. All right, so here we have is another example of cnHeat making predictions. There's 5 houses in this neighborhood. 3 of them have service and 2 don't. So for the ones that have service, what you can do is you can efficiently plan them in advance and then go only to those places of the house to do service. You don't have to like go there, walk around, try different places and take a long time. You can get it all previously planned and installed very quickly. And for the other 2 houses, the ones in red, you can say, hey, I know I don't have service here, so you can not do the service on a normal way for this house and you can avoid the failed truck roll. And this is something that you would be nearly impossible to do just by going there on Google Earth or other tools, because how are you going to know this just by looking? They're all right next to each other. Okay, so if we could quantify how much this costs, a few questions would be good to ask is to see how much time and money you're going to save is how many installations do you do at your site per month to figure out how much money you're going to save at your site. So how many installations do you do? What's your percentage of installs that are successful? And then how much do you save on a successful install by knowing where to install in advance? And how much time do you save by avoiding a failed truck roll? And then of course, how much do you pay to per hour when you're doing an installation, all costs included. So I won't go through this spreadsheet in detail, I mean this slide, but the point is, let's say we'll try to quantify it, is if you have a lot of installs and there's lots and lots of trees, you might do, and so you might do like 10 installs at a site per month. 6 are successful, 4 are unsuccessful. You reduce your overall time by 30 minutes on your good installs because you're planning them in advance. And you're actually like saving 2 hours by not going to failed truck rolls. Let's say your all-in cost is $50. If you take all those together, you're going to save 11 hours of time a month, which is $550, or nearly $20,000 over the course of 3 years of using cnHeat. Now, what about, so let's say that's somewhere where there's lots and lots of trees and lots of installs. What about, let's go to the other extreme. Should I even do this at like places, let's say I'm like in an arid location, like West Texas or Wyoming or something like that. And I can mostly succeed on my installs anyway. And what if I have, even if I am there, and what if I have a site where I don't have that many installs, it's mature and not a lot of people call each month? Let's go through that. So here, I might do 3 installs per month, and then on these, they're always successful anyway. But what I realized with cnHeat on just those 3 installs is I save 30 minutes of time each time on the install per month. This equates now to saving 1.5 hours of time per month, or $75 per month, which gives you an overall savings of the 3 years of $2,700. So even on these like use cases for sites that are usually successful and not a lot of activity, cnHeat still can pay for itself. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's continue the discussion on this area where we have the amount, the efficiency of installs per day. So the idea is the time per install decreases and you can do more installations today, which means maybe you don't need as many installers, or it means your installers can be doing other activities that would be helping you to get more business. So, for instance, questions to determine install increased efficiency is what percentage of your installs are successful, and then the percentage of your installs that are successful, how easy are they, right? How much time does it take to do an easy install, and how much time does it take to do a difficult install? How much time do you save by avoiding a failed truck roll? If we quickly go through and look at something without cnHeat and with cnHeat, what we say is, let's say that let's say we're going back into, like, I don't know, West Texas or something like that, or Wyoming, where you succeed a lot of the time. Let's say you succeed 85% of the time, but maybe 80% of the time you're not optimal in placing your installs. So if you have time for an easy install might be an hour, and time for a difficult install is 2 hours, and time for a failed truck roll it takes 2 hours because you have a large area to cover, then what we see is, I won't go through the math, is your average time per install without cnHeat might be a little under 2 hours, when you can do a little more than 4 installs a day. But if you use cnHeat and now your percentage of the successful installs go to 97%, let's say as an example, and your ease of installs are also, most of them are all easy now, then what happens is your time per install goes down to almost an hour, and you can almost double the amount of installs that you do per day. So what I suggest is think about the use cases for yourself, and this is what I would think is the value that cnHeat could potentially bring to you. Now let's go to the third thing that cnHeat might do. With the heat map, as you saw in the demonstration, you can take an untrained customer service representative, they look at the map, and they can probably pretty easily tell an end customer within a minute, get the address, they say hello, the customer talks, says I want service, they say this is the location, they find the location, they agree upon it, and then they can say pretty much with some training, a little training, but maybe not a lot, you can have service or you can't have service, and have high confidence in their answer. That's great for the end customer because now they're not waiting to get an answer back like we're going to go do an install and then come back and tell you yes or no. They kind of know more up front and they can plan their lives around it better. Okay, now another benefit I want to state goes back to this really hard install that we had the picture of. Here, this install could have easily, if the installer wasn't as good as they were, could have easily been a failure because they could have tried everywhere else and missed this one little location right here. So with cnHeat, you can go back through all of your past installs for a site, and you can say, hey, a failed install. And you say, maybe there's another place just like this home where I can go to and identify that failed install. And now you can make them an actual revenue-paying customer every month. All right. Okay, so how do you order cnHeat? What's the process? Is it hard, is it difficult, or is it easy? And here's what we do. There's really 3 steps. The first step, and I'll go to the website here, is you go to the Cambium Networks website and you're going to go and download a template. And I'm going to show you this information. And then when you fill out your template all about your site, you're going to upload it back to Cambium Networks. And the last thing that Cambium Networks will do is we'll take the information and we'll send you the parts that you need to order to take on cnHeat. Now, what we need to do is we're not always sure that we can get data within for free for all customers. So most, for instance, what we try to do in most locations in the United States and in parts of the world, there's free GIS data available. And if we find that, we will let you know and provide this information to you. If there's not free GIS data, we will also tell you, oh, we can get you data, but we have to buy private data, and we'll tell you that information too. So you'll get different pieces of information back from us. You'll get us how to order the sites, and you'll also get from us, if you need to buy data, how to order the data. And you can do the data in a couple ways. You can get the data from us, or if you want to get the data yourself, you can go purchase the data yourself and we'll make sure that it's right. We'll provide that information. So real quickly, let's go back to the browser here. And we will go to the Cambium Network site. So how do I get to cnHeat? This is the regular CambiumNetworks.com webpage. You start here at products, you come over here to software, click on software, and then you will scroll down and there will be cnHeat. You click on cnHeat And now you're at the cnHeat webpage. That's cambiumnetworks.com/product/software/cnHeat. And then what we have here is information about cnHeat and the applications for it. We've just talked about the benefits. And here we provide the information for how you can actually get the service. So one is you press download template and you'll download a template just like I did. And what you'll get is let me share this. You will get a CSV file such as this, and it contains the following information: site name, the access point name, latitude of the APs, longitude of the APs, the azimuth of the AP, down tilt, the type of AP you desire. If you don't want to using the ARP, max ARP, or maybe something less, the height of the AP, the frequency you plan to use it at, the SM type, and then once again right here we have the two different SMs heights. We have height 1 and height 2, so you can choose your optimal height and your worst case height. And then below over here we give you different RSSI values that you can choose for your heat map, and we give up to 6. So in this example here we provide -60, -66, and -72, and none of the others. That would give you a heat map showing these values that you can have receive sensitivities at. But you can do all 6 if you desire. And if you want to do a site optimization because your site already exists, you just hit yes instead of no. Okay, so that is what you would fill out, and then you would take that information, and what you would do is you would then come back to here and you would choose this file right here, and you would find a location to upload your template. So here's an existing template. We choose we put it into here, we choose it, we enter the name, and we'll just put my name in there, Daniel Sullivan, and my company will be Cambium Networks, and there's my email address, and this is a test. And you submit, and you're done. Now you have provided cnHeat information to us, and we'll go off and figure out what you need to order, and we'll send that information back to you. So now let's go back to the slide presentation. Okay, so now we're back to down here. So once again, the process is go to cnHeat, download the CSV file, fill it out, go back, upload it, and then we'll send you the information of what you need to order. So how much will cnHeat save you? You don't really know until you try it out. I can tell you all these things like this will save you this and this will save you this, but until you actually see it and believe it and can see how it actually benefits yourself, you know, that's understandable. So what we do is anyone who wants to come to us today and provide us your site, and we'll give you a free 2-week demo. So we'll give you one site of your choice. Pick your hardest site, your most active site. Come to us, provide the information, and we'll create a cnHeat site for you, and you can try it. You get your own username or password just for yourself, and you can use it for the few weeks to see, you know, exactly how it does mesh up with what you experience in reality. If you have further questions, you can always contact me. This is my email address at Cambium, daniel.sullivan@cambiumnetworks.com, and I would be glad to answer any of your questions. All right, thank you very much. There's questions? Hold on. So we have questions. I'm new to this, guy, so hold on here. Sorry for the delay. All right, there's someone smarter than me here. Her name's Susie. She's like the brains of the operation. What do I do here now?
Just click this little pop-out arrow.
That. Great. Okay. All right, question 1. Using the example you provided for houses that did not have coverage, would that be an option to set up a micropop for from a house with the coverage to a house without coverage? That's a really good point. The actual answer is yes. If we go back to answer this question, let me go back to the screen sharing here, and we go back to the website. Let's do this. We'll go back to cnHeat, and we're at that house. is true is what you can do here is this house has service, and this allows you to do exactly what said is. You can actually use this house to be like a little micro pop to others in the neighborhood, or you could go just directly and have an AP, another, you know, have your SM connect up to another AP and it can shoot service over to there. So absolutely, this will let you know that, and you could solve the problem that way. Okay, the second question is, I got on the webinar at 9:02 a.m. Did I miss how to set up cnHeat? Or is there another webinar I can use for that? For setting it up, hopefully at the end we talk to you about how what we'll do is you give us your information for your site, and after you download the template, you upload it to us, and we will be able to then do cnHeat for you, assuming that we can get the data and the free GIS data, or if there's paid data needed, we have to pay for that. And if you have to pay for the data, we can't do that for the free demo. So if you need paid data, we can't, you know, obviously take on the cost of paying for the data and then doing the demo. But if you have free GIS data, we can do the free demo for you. So what we do is you'd have that, we'd set it up for you for the free demo, and then that's how you would get cnHeat set up. And then we would give you a username and password. So real quickly, if I refresh this page, here we have the page again. And remember the password is cnHeat, and then the account is cnHeat, and then we put in a password of demo. And here you are. And we will provide the exact same thing for you. Okay. Good questions. There we go. All right. Another question from Ash. What format do we need for the data? The data format is it's basically, we use different formats. So if you can find data, it's a correct representation of the Earth, and we typically say things that can be done in a DSM. Then what we do is we take that data and we import it into our service, and then that's what we use to model the Earth. If you have questions on whether there's actually free data available, you can contact me directly, or you can contact your salesman at your RSM, at Cambium, or your RTM, and we can look that up for you also. What is the cost after the free demo? Okay. The cost after the free demo is we'll provide a site setup fee, and that is $262.50. And then we offer four ways to do the subscription. You can do it 1 year or 3 year, or you can do it either quarterly or pay up front for the 1 year or the 3 year. So I believe 1 year is $262.50 paid up front, and 3 years is $525. So we give you 1 year for free out of the 3. If you go for 3 years, you only have to pay for 2. Quarterly amount for 1 year is $69, and quarterly amount for 3 years is $46. So let's go back to the 3 year amount for cnHeat. If you take all those costs together, we're talking somewhere like $780. That's less than $22 per month. So if cnHeat saves you one good truck roll where you increase your efficiency by half an hour, you will spend less in your ongoing business than you will with cnHeat for that site. So think of it as $22 per month is what that would cost. Is the information update for outside the US? Yes, we support the US. So we have a customer already in Australia that we've sold the service to. We have another one that we're using in Australia, and there's free data in many other countries. So there's data in New Zealand, there's data in Spain, there's data in Poland, there's data in the Philippines, there's free data in Italy. Please contact us and we will look it up for you to find out if there's free data for you if you're outside the United States. The name of this webinar is cnHeat Roadmap. However, this information is essentially the same as the webinar of May 7th. Is any roadmap information available? Yes, good point. Sorry about saying the roadmap. It's cnHeat 1.0. But in the future, what we're going to do in the near future in the United States is when you have your cnHeat heat map, one benefit of that, let's dive into this. So that's a great question, Patrick, is we'll dive into this site again. Let me clear everything. Hide all, go to Tower 1. And what we do is we look at these houses. And we know when we drive into this, like here's the Methodist Church, we'll have a database and we can identify all the buildings that have service. So you would have this building, and these buildings here, not this one, maybe not that one. And what we'll do is we can identify those buildings and translate them into a way that they can be targeted, such as addresses. And you will be able to then be able to target market these customers and bring on net new customers. So we really wanted to get it out at the first release. We couldn't do it. We're working on it diligently, and in the near future, you'll be able, once you buy the cnHeat service and get this underlying heat map, you'll be able to add to it and find out all those customers that you can target market and sell new service plans for. Now, this is only in the United States. Apologize, we don't have it yet in the rest of the world, but this is something that we'll have in the United States. This is the next part of our roadmap from there. So I hope that helps some, Patrick. Thank you for the question. I have GeoTIFF, this is from Ash. I have GeoTIFF 1/3 arc for clutter and terrain. Will that work? And the answer is no, that won't work. Let's go back to the presentation here and I'll explain why it won't work. If I come back to this, we could go to here, and the 1/3 data, we need data that is 1 meter GIS, and the 1/3 data is actually, it's going to be worse than this, and so it won't have the resolution. We can do the heat map for you, but it won't tell you the accuracy, and it won't tell you whether things are right or not. So of course we could take the data in, but it would not really give you any of the value or benefits that we're showing here. So what we really need is we need the high resolution GIS data that we show here. All right, next question. This is from Mike. Perhaps you can't answer this slide, but is the pricing you're providing end user information different for Connected Partner and Connected Partner Plus? The pricing that I related is actually for any partner you want to work with, whether it's a distributor or a reseller. Okay, next question is from Kyle. What is the address for the demo? Yes, let's go back to the screen here. The address for the demo is here. It's cnHeat.cambiumnetworks.com. And yeah, so you can get to it right there. And then the username or the account is cnHeat, and the demo password is demo. And once again, if you come and do a free trial with us, we will provide, it'll be the same website, and you'll have your own demo account and demo password, or you have your account, excuse me, and password. Okay, this is from Omar. It's possible to generate the template file directly from Link Planner. That's a great question, Omar. Yes, if you already have your site done in Link Planner, we'll take that as input also, since all the same information is there. So what you do is you simply go back to our website. Let me show that again. So back to our website here, and you'll notice here that this has been submitted, so thank you for the submission. But let me go back to the start. So we'll go back to the Cambium Networks page, and again through products, software, and we come down to cnHeat, we click on that, and we have, again, the same path to get to cnHeat, Cambium Networks, product, software, cnHeat. Come down to here, the page you can see is refreshed. I can come to here, do a choose file, and I can actually update. This is a actual Link Planner file that we have, and you can import your Link Planner file that way, and that's great. We'll use that instead of the CSV file that you provided us. So yes, you can do that, Omar. All right, that is the last question. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, and once again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at daniel.sullivan@cambiumnetworks.com, and I would love to try to help you out to make your WIST business succeed and continue to be more efficient. Thank you, everybody, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Dan, and we will be posting the recording of this webinar and the slides to our community page and our YouTube page. So you can find all of the information that was discussed here today on there.
Okay, thanks, Susie. She's actually the brains, kept this thing going. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, and then I can edit that out.
Okay.
And then we just press that top X in the gray area.
This?
Yep.
Or this?
Above.
This?
Yes. And then end webinar for all.
Yeah.
Yes.